What's up, everybody? It is July 3rd, 2017, and we've been away for a while. It's mostly Nick's fault, but I guess I'll share some of the blame for whatever reason. But yeah, we're back. I know it's the strangest thing in the world that we've been gone, and now we're back, and everything's gonna be okay because we're like superheroes, and instead of everybody getting just one. Everybody's getting like 93. This is episode 93. Ready Tokyo. Hi Nick, how are you?
I mean, the world's burning down around us, but I'm okay.
What makes you think the world is burning around us, Nick?
We're gone, and then, just all the things happened that were terrible, but now we're back, so everything should be okay.
Yeah, but see, like the thing is, to me, is I think the world was in fairly capable hands because there was a certain movie that came out this year. Actually, two movies. No, yeah, was it? Yeah, what was it? Yeah, it was two movies that came out this year. Um, and I think that everyone's gonna be okay.
Wait, how are you being hopeful and optimistic?
Because for starters, okay, we started the year with Power Rangers, and I know you didn't watch it, and um, I know a lot of people didn't watch it, but I'm gonna say one thing before I make my point about my optimism here. Fucking watch the movie. Just watch the goddamn movie. Shut the hell up about all the complaints and watch it. Okay? Um, having we talked about this a dozen times. Having gone back and actually watched the first several seasons, I can promise you, it's great. Okay, it might not be the best Power Rangers thing ever, but it is leagues ahead of the one from the 90s. Let's be honest, it's a lot better than Turbo. There are enough references in there to keep everyone happy. There's some cameos from original actors, and Bryan Cranston is a living god. I'm sorry. You need to actually watch this. Um, I'm actually sad because it didn't do well enough domestically. I'm hoping that the money from overseas is enough, but it's not going. Let's be honest, it's not going to be. But I would really like there to be a sequel to this at some point in time because I want to know what happens.
I'm sorry, did you mention Turbo? I just blanked out after everything you
Yes,
said
yes,
after
yes.
that.
It's
No,
it's better than
it
Power Rangers Turbo.
was the epitome of terribleness, so
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. One of my
wanted to compare it to something to say it's good. You would say Power Rangers
okay, fine.
instead.
I won't compare it to Turbo because Turbo is legitimately stupid. But there is by the way the Turbo season. If you ever decide to torture yourself and go back and watch Power Rangers, it's terrible. Hang yourself now. No, actually that's not funny because there was a YouTube star who committed suicide last night and hung herself. But we'll get to that in a minute. What was I gonna say? If we're gonna compare it to something, compare it to what is probably one of my favorite seasons, which is Zeo. The Zeo crystals are mentioned in the movie, and if y'all have never actually taken the time to watch Power Rangers Zeo, just listen to the theme song of it by itself. Holy shit, it's amazing. It starts out with Zeo, Zeo, like that, but it's much better. It's much better than my very terrible um, inability to carry a tone will give you the idea. Just God damn it, just watch it. Anyway, uh,
I can't tell if you scared people off or encouraged them to watch
both.
there.
I'm doing both. But um, the year started off great that way, and with how 2016 was, God damn it, it's great to finally watch something to be excited about. And then we had the movie that I think before it released, um, if I'm remembering correctly, you and I had some serious doubts about the most badass DC Comics character that's ever existed. And I'm not talking about Batman because fuck Batman, fuck Superman. Um, Wonder Woman came out this year,
Oh,
and
actually, that was the movie I was the most hopeful for of everything.
shut up, Nick. But no, god
I
damn
mean,
it, when they made
no. Legitimately, I was afraid, they would screw it up like the other ones. But
well, see, there's a
it, but
possibility
wait,
that
wait,
because
from the trailer, it
there's a possibility because it is
reminded
a
me
live
of.
action DC movie that it will be screwed up. There is a huge possibility that somewhere along the line they're going to screw things up. And the thing is, there's quite a few reviewers who have noticed, well, this is just repeated tropes, and ideas and stuff over and over again. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that is typical of superhero genres, okay? And if you want
But
to flip it
that's
around,
okay.
I know it's okay, hang on, but okay, it's I'm trying to look at it from both sides here. If you want to flip the thing around, like what's typical in a superhero movie. Usually the very masculine, very male superhero has, like he's in love. There's some sort of motivation for him. It's a tragedy, whatever. He has to give up his background, everything, and then, oh, there's a self-sacrifice. Da, 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 da. Okay, it's fine. It's boring. It's tiresome. And I will admit, as someone who, again, loves Batman, we know I love Batman. I love Superman. Nick, for some reason, you like Spider-Man. I don't know why, but it's tiresome. It's very tiresome to me. Um, just not specifically as a fan, but someone who very amateurishly likes to review movies because we do it on the show sometimes. It's genuinely embarrassing to me that well, not really embarrassing. It's more tiresome. But it's just this idea that there are only male superheroes and they get to do all the cool shit, and you can't possibly have a female superhero. And then we get to have a female superhero, and it's like, oh well, we can't allow her to have 5 seconds of on-screen time of whatever. Like, no, fuck off, okay? It works, okay? Out of all the problems DC has ever had with any live action movie of theirs, and I'll be honest, there's a lot. And keep in mind, I'm the one who was defending Dawn of Justice, and now here it is several months later. I'm looking back and realizing and openly admitting that there were some problems with Dawn of Justice. I'm not going to deny it, okay? I'm not an
It's a
idiot. There were
terrible movie.
problems with. Shut up, Nick. There were problems with Dawn of Justice, okay? There really were. I'm sorry. But Wonder Woman gets it right.
Well, and the thing is, it's not just that she's a woman. I mean, that is a. I'm super happy that we finally have a female superhero on the big screen getting the limelight that she does deserve and has deserved for decades now. I don't understand why it took so long to get this. But I'm gonna put that to the side for a minute because here's what was wrong with the DC Universe movies. There was no hope. The superhero tropes. I get that it gets boring. I get that it's the same thing over and over and over again. But here's the thing. Here's what Marvel understood that DC didn't understand is you need some of those tropes. You don't need to hammer it home every day, every movie. Sure, Marvel goes over the top in that direction, but when all you have is this dark, gringy world of emo-ness, where we're supposed to have superheroes that are saving people just to save people, you end up with Dawn of Justice and the Superman movie, which I don't even want to remember. What was it? Man of Steel? Yeah. It, it it's just so ending to the senses, and that's where Wonder Woman really shines. Is she's she's a beacon of light. She is hope in the DC universe. And you haven't seen that until now. And that has been my main complaint the whole time. I get going dark and edgy and being adult and everything, but you still need that beacon of light. It doesn't work without it, and that's what I've been trying to tell you.
See, like, okay, I've never really disagreed with you that you need to have that beacon of light. I mean, now there are times I think the whole beacon thing is stupid, uh, because it just didn't work the way it's like the way it's intended. But with Wonder
I mean, with
Woman,
some movies and storylines, it doesn't work. I mean, if you're set in like a super dark world, I get it. Oh god, what was the movie? The movie that you loved that everyone hates from a while ago? Huh? I know the other comic book movie that no one like.
if it wasn't Dawn of Justice, I don't know what it would be.
Big blue guy that blows all the cities up. Doctor Manhattan.
Oh, oh, Watchmen. Yeah, yeah. What about it?
Watchmen works because it's a dark, cringy world where the, that's what's supposed to be there. That's what the story is. It doesn't work in the DC universe because there's supposed to be these cool, badass superheroes that save the day. That's why we watch it.
But
That's
okay,
what we
but
come
okay,
there
okay, okay,
for.
hang on. There's one very important thing here. Okay, now of course Watchmen is DC. For those of you who have forgotten, Watchmen is DC. It is semi-canonical. Like there's references. Okay, how can I say this and it not be in this big long expose about Watchmen? Batman exists or is kind of sort of in existence in this universe. And the reason I say that is, um, actually, let me rephrase that. Batman exists, but he never goes beyond being child Bruce Wayne. The reason being, uh, it's actually in the movie's opening sequence, and it's in the comics and everything. I think it was the comedian yeah, it was a comedian who was stopping a gangster, and there's people in the background clutching one another. Now you don't see the kid, but he's there, and the woman is of course wearing pearls, and there's an advertisement for the play or the movie, whatever it was. I think in this context it was a movie, The Mark of Zorro, that they were seeing. That is Bruce Wayne's parents. So the comedian saves Thomas and Martha Wayne, and you never have to you never have to have blah, blah, words are hard. You never have to have Batman in the Watchmen universe. Okay, so like it's kind of like an offshoot reality here. But around the time Watchmen came out, you had, oh god, Death in the Family, Death of the Family, The Killing Joke, all these really dark stories that completely changed the way everything is. And one of the more darker ones is The Dark Knight Returns, which is the one where Batman beats Superman in a fist fight and then dies. Spoiler alert: it's 30 years old. Fuck off. But yeah, he beats him to death, and he later dies. And that's where the concept of Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice comes from. And we've talked about this a half dozen times now, but it's really important that you remember that that's what those are drawing from. And the reason it's important to remember that is because every single goddamn DC movie is set in that world. It's basically like how every TV show and movie and stuff like that right now, we're talking about real things, is set post 9/11. because you cannot possibly get away from that. But that's like those stories have become the foundation for everything modern about the DCU. Um, with the
And
MCU,
well, wait, let me just step in for 1 second. Because I get that. I get where I know it's drawing from that specific comic. I know it's drawing from that specific world, which is a very dark story and a very dark setting, and I get all of that. But the problem is that trying to establish the DCU, if you don't give people that basically Wonder Woman. If you don't give people Wonder Woman to offset that really dark undertones of Dawn of Justice, then you create a really depressing and sad environment. And even though it's set in a dark world, you still have years and years of light-hearted fun in some cases, not in all cases, of course, but DC Comics to contrast against that, and that's what's been missing. Um, it was to me a really big blunder to come out so dark out of the gate, and we see that with how people are responding to Wonder Woman. Everyone loves Wonder Woman. The critics love Wonder Woman. The fans love Wonder Woman. People who thought they wouldn't love Wonder Woman love Wonder Woman, and it's because uh, my main complaint against the DCU is that they didn't give us any hope. They didn't give us any heroes per se. Because one of the real things about the Batman versus Superman fight is that heroes there really. It's more of a grudge match fight. It's more of just two guys trying to prove themselves against each other. It's not a story about heroes. And unless you see them being heroes on the big screen beforehand, you're not going to feel empathetic towards them. It just it's bad storytelling. It's a great story when put in the proper context or proper order, but because of the way that they came out with it, it just and emotion that should have been there out of the movie, to me at least.
you're okay. That's the thing. You're not wrong, and you got like 5 steps ahead of the point I was going to make about the MCU. The MCU, uh, their storyline, for some ungodly reason, uh, tends to spring from around the time of Civil War, and you have problems with Civil War storyline. I know a lot of people do because it's terrible.
Well,
It's
well,
generally
one of
terrible.
the things,
Hang on. Let me finish your point. Let me finish your point.
just one thing,
Uh,
they completely changed the Civil War storyline, which was brilliant on their part because
it's
the
better in the
comic
movies.
version is terrible.
It's better in the movies. So we can just put it that. Well, what I was gonna say is that um, DC, even though they took their source material from stuff from the '80s, it's 30-year-old comic books. I think the most recent uh storyline that was used as the springboard for the modern DCU is the Death of Superman, which is in the '90s. Um, and like you said, it is all dark and gritty and everything, And but the idea is essentially the world is out of hope. Like it's dark. There's threats out there. Even Batman has become tired of it, and that's where I think the DC universe did it right. And god damn it, because I remember texting you, watching the opening of Dawn of Justice, and it was the fucking Batman origin story. That's how they opened the movie. I was so excited because I didn't think they were going to do it. It's going to be a pre-existing Batman. We're not going to have to see Thomas and Martha Wayne get robbed or murdered. It's going to be fine. Not going to discover the Batcave. Not going to do that. And then the first like 5 minutes of the fucking movie, that's all you see. But then you get this amazing, amazing sequence where he is in Metropolis driving to the Wayne Building tower there, and god damn it, it's amazing. Like it's like that's fucking Batman, okay? And just like it's unreal to watch Bruce Wayne do some Batman stuff, and that's what it is. Like that was Batman for me. Like the moment they showed him driving with that upbeat music, Superman fighting Zod and just shit everywhere, I was like, okay, I'm sold. I like this. And then you flash forward to him rescuing the human trafficking victims, and it's even more Batman stuff. But the fight in the warehouse, that is solid Batman right there. He gets shot in the head. Spoiler alert. And he just beats the shit out of the guy, stabbed with a knife. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It works for me. Okay. But the idea in this movie is that Batman's been doing this for like 20 years. Okay. Superman's come along. He has completely shifted the paradigm. It's the same concept of, and that's why I'm glad you brought up Watchmen. It's the same general concept of Doctor Manhattan coming to. All of a sudden, the way it's phrased in there is that yes, there's a God and he's American. It's kind of like that, and that's what Superman represents. So like you're in a pre-established world where all these things are going on, and then you have a uh, uh, Nietzschean Ubermensch just step in, and it's like, okay, things got to change, okay? And of course, Batman's the first one to react to that, and that's what the movie's showing, and that's where the DCU fails ultimately, because they could have split that up into two movies, maybe three, like two or three different movies. It would have been fine. It would have been perfectly fine because we got the standalone Superman movie. The problems I have with that are immense. But that's another story. Um, they could have done a standalone Batman movie and shown Batman doing the things he does in this for the majority of the goddamn movie because it is ultimately the best Batman movie we've ever had. It really is. It's fantastic. Good job, Ben Affleck. Um, but
I honestly think they should have led with a Batman movie. And I mean, I'm not nearly the Batman fan you are, but if they were going to do the universe in this fashion, in this manner, with this kind of setting, they should have led with a Batman movie, not Man of Steel. Man of Steel should have been second. And then that
well,
would have led
there's a problem
really
with. I
well
mean, it's
into
not
Dawn
that
of
I
Justice.
disagree, but there's a problem with it. When the DCU started with Man of Steel, that was what, like 2 years, 2 or 3 years after. Has it been that long? It was just it was anyway. It was just a few years after uh the ending of the Nolan universe. We had had some fantastic Batman movies. The world was getting used to the idea of Christian Bale being Batman. I don't know why they were still getting used to it because he's been Batman for a while. But they could have done that. But hang on. If they had done it then, it would not have worked. It really would not have because it would have been like the Joel Schumacher Batmans that were tacked on to the the I forgot his name. I'm sorry. Um, Tim Burton Batman's movies. It would have been like that. It would have been the same reception. Oh well, no, and it wouldn't have been as popular. Now thinking again, it's
I mean,
Batman. People are going to go see Batman movies. We know this, but I, as much as I hate to say it,
I
as much as I hate to say it, I think the idea of giving us a Superman movie, trying to give us a Superman in a realistic context, is what was needed. Because you had the one before that where it was supposed to be a continuation of the Christopher Reeve ones, and I'm sorry, it's not Christopher Reeve. He's not coming back. He's lost to us. And if you remember the way that those movies worked out, they got really stupid. Um, so
that
I
was just a terrible movie, terrible
They were.
idea.
They really were. And I think I legitimately think giving us a Superman movie was the best decision possible. And they should have. Instead of going from Man of Steel to Dawn of Justice, giving us a fucking Batman movie in between, followed that up by Suicide Squad, which, by the way, is kind of awesome in comparison. But they could have done that, like here's Batman. It's a pre-established Batman. I would live with the origin story in a standalone Batman movie. I don't want to. It's a nice reminder of why it is he does what he does, but I don't want it. Whatever, Goose Fraba. But they should have done a standalone Batman movie, and then followed it up with Suicide Squad, and then you have you build up the momentum there. It's like you realize, okay, Batman's put all these people in Bel Rev or Blackgate or Arkham, wherever you want to put them. Okay, because it's a pre-established Batman, so the Joker's here. You could have, God damn it, you could have even done Death in the Family and had like that one little tenuous connection there between Suicide Squad and Justice.
Or
The Joker.
or they could have even went a step further and had Batman actually capture some of the Suicide Squad
Yeah,
in that movie, and then
yeah.
lead that into Suicide Squad.
They could
That would
have.
have
It's
been
like,
I would have been fully on board with that. That would have been amazing.
and see, like, here's the thing: since the DCU is heavily dependent on these flashbacks, what they could have done is kind of like the Suicide Squad, with him capturing certain characters because he is shown interacting with the Joker and Harley Quinn and Deadshot. They could have worked that into the movie, you know, because
Well, you would
the
if
usual thing with Batman movies, the usual thing with Batman movies is that there's always two bad guys. Almost always, if you look at them, it goes back, except for the '89 one, because you only had the Joker in that one. But since then, it's always been two bad guys at once, usually teaming up. But you could have done the Joker and Deadshot. That would have been great. And those flashback sequences that you see in Suicide Squad could have been fully fleshed out in the movie. It would have been great. In fact, they could have let off with Deadshot, because his is the more simple one. Like the movie starts, with Batman doing all this Batman stuff. I mean, like, have some legitimate action Batman, not this brooding, stupid bullshit where Bruce climbs up out of a tower or a hole, whatever stupid nonsense you want to put in there. But have some genuine action-packed Batman stuff take
it,
place in the movie, and have him
in
capture
fact,
Deadshot.
even needed the flashbacks as much, which, in my opinion, would have made Suicide Squad a lot better. Because you wouldn't have to keep looking back time. It really feels like all this reliance on flashbacks is because they're missing a movie. It
And
feels
they
like
are.
yeah, it feels like somewhere along the lines they had a Batman movie in place after Superman, and like we just suggested, and between Suicide Squad, and for some reason they decided to cut it out. Justice, and I don't get why.
It, it, I don't think the world's ever going to know, but I'll be honest. There should have been a movie in between there, and I just realized we've been talking about this for a while, and never actually got back to Wonder Woman. Um, Wonder Woman. God damn it! Just say it. I mean, I know we
It's
can.
it's
I know you and I can pick apart the DCU for, like, we've been doing this for like what, 20 minutes now, but we could do it far longer. Just see Wonder Woman. Goddamn, just watch it. I mean, it really is a good movie, and it really is the best DC movie so
no,
far
no, no,
ever.
wait. You know what they should have let off with? They should have
What?
let off with Wonder Woman.
No, 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 no. There's a reason you don't lead off with Woman. Now, this is not me being Mr. Men's Rights Activist, anti-feminist. No, this is Wonder Woman has to exist in relation to the male characters. Okay, and there's a reason I say this. You can bitch at me all you want to, but if you look at Wonder Woman and look at what she is not dependent on the men. She's better than they are. Wonder Woman can hold her own against a godlike entity from another planet, another universe. For fuck's sake, her sword is sharp enough it can split atoms. It's about the only thing that's ever cut Superman. And there's a panel in a comic book that shows this. Superman kind of thumbs the blade and it cuts him. Okay? Wonder Woman start as shown on Because Science on the Nerdist channel. Wonder Woman's blade would actually generate lightning as it swung because it's that fast, like it's that sharp. Okay, she's untold wealth of power within the body that she's in. Like she's essentially she's not just like a living god, she is a living god, okay? The only other character in the DC universe immediately that we're getting, as far as the movie goes, that's close enough to that, is actually not Superman. Sorry, Clark, but it's not him. It's actually Aquaman, okay? So, like, her counterpart in power-wise would be Aquaman, except I don't think we're going to be getting Aquaman to the extent of his actual capability, because let's be realistic here, he controls 75% of the entire planet, plus all the water that's elsewhere. But anyway, that goes back to what I said before about how DC characters represent gods. You know, like Batman is Hades, Wonder Woman is anyway. Mythology aside, that's what makes her so amazing, is when you show her in comparison to everyone else, you realize, holy shit, she's actually really strong. And that's why I think it was the best decision to put her in the Dawn of Justice like they did. At that point in time, it's like, okay, look, here is Batman. Batman's getting his ass beat, you know, because he's immortal, and he has all these tools and tricks, but he's still incapable of this. And here's Superman getting the dog shit beat out of him. So Wonder Woman shows up and she's like, hey guys, I'm far more powerful than you are. Look at my shield and let me scream while I jump and get amazing music. And it's great. It works. Like, introducing her that way worked. It was the strongest introduction of a superhero character I've ever personally seen in a movie. And I loved it.
And I mean, she was probably she is the best part of Dawn of Justice. And I mean, it's just so weird to me, just everything they did. And comparison of Wonder Woman is the first Captain America movie. The first Avenger. What it reminds me the most of. The first Captain America movie. I mean, Iron Man was a good movie. Not to take away from that, but to me, the movie that really made the MCU was the Captain America movie, because Steve Rogers felt like a real hero to me there. Tony Stark, felt like to be a hero. Steve Rogers felt like a hero to me. I sort of get the same vibe from Wonder Woman. Like, Superman is a guy that wants to be a hero. And it's a guy that just isn't a hero anymore, almost, in a way. But Wonder Woman is the actual real life, quote unquote, hero in this setting. And to me, that's what these universes have to have in order to work. That's what they need more than anything else. I'm all for innovation and storylines and new things and branching out and trying something different. But you need that trope in the superhero genre. You need that hero.
You,
This is the first thing where we get to see that, and it's just so essential, so important to the story in order to do anything else.
you know what movie franchise does not branch out and embrace new things and get more better? Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah,
Do you have any idea where I'm going with this? Any idea at all?
tell me.
So like you have no like you're not even going to venture a guess as to what does not go there with being better and awesome and cool.
Nope.
Da 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 da, da. Michael Bay's Transformers, because we got that shit this year too.
We talk about it. Hi.
I hated it.
To even give him the time of day. I don't want to acknowledge that he exists.
Okay, look, here's the thing. Goddamn. I think we've established on the show that I like Transformers and you like Transformers, and we all know Brandon does. But, um, oh, it's so bad. Okay, um, where to begin with this piece of shit? Okay, um, I will give Michael Bay credit. First off, I actually do want to talk about the good things because there's some good things. By the way, spoiler alert for if you haven't seen it yet. Um,
There
there's
aren't
some
good
good
things.
there's some good things in the movie. The robot designs are great. I mean, I know we've had some robots in the past, like the twins, and the RC triplets and everything. That were a little iffy. Uh, let's not forget in the second movie there were Transformers that walked around um, just on like wheels. Like they had wheeled feet, which is didn't hurt anything because Sideswipe in the movie actually had wheeled feet and he skated around, but it's fine. But um, he also had in that movie the most ridiculous thing in the world of a Transformer who bounced around. Oh, it's so bad on an auger. God, it's terrible. Um, okay, I'm stop laughing now. Oh, just God, it's fucking terrible. Okay, but the robot designs are great. I have no earthly idea why Megatron looks like he does in this. I don't care. This is the this is an amazing design for Megatron. And I especially love how he has like the little horns and face mask that will go like shrink like that and just kind of move away from his face, like Optimus's mask, like his faceplate does. I love it. All right, it's a great touch. Um, I love his new jet mode. I love the fact that it's Frank Welker voicing him. I realize it's supposed to be Galvatron, but for some reason he's become Megatron. It's fine, whatever. Um, I like Optimus in this movie. I didn't think I would like the whole night aesthetic that he had in Age of Extinction, and I'll be honest, it didn't fucking work. It didn't work at all. Sorry, it didn't work. Uh,
Well, apparently, though, people are saying it's still the best King Arthur movie of the year. So
it is.
apparently, King Arthur was worse.
Yes.
The Arthur
Like
movie.
and like that's one of the best points in the movie. Okay, it's It's actually very well done. Like the flashback is very fucking well done. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, everything that you see in this movie, everything in this movie comes directly from the 80s cartoon and a couple of the series that we've had in between it. Every single fucking plot point in this movie comes from those things. Okay?
See,
The idea that there is, hang on, the idea that there is Unicron out there, that's great. Yes, Unicron's mentioned. We were right. Hooray. By the way, spoiler alert, Earth is Unicron. But if you watch Transformers Prime, you know that. Okay? That's where that comes from. Okay? The idea of there being a creator for the Transformers that is essentially a god, that is their god or one of their gods, that's already existent. You already have the idea of the 13 Primes, okay? The 13 Primes were brought up in the earlier movies. They're never mentioned where the Primes come from or who made them, okay? Now, the options are usually the Quintessons, or you have Primus, and Primus is Cybertron itself. Like, Primus, is this giant metal god that fought Unicron and locked Unicron away, and he became a planet because he had nothing else to do, okay? The movie, like the live action movies are.
I just want to say that the idea that you become a planet because you have nothing else to do is kind of hilarious.
He really didn't. I mean, he beat his enemy, had brought peace to the universe, to all reality, so he settles down and has some kids, okay? It works, and the movie is, god damn it, I don't want to say this, I really don't, but the movie is actually combining both of the origin stories for the Transformers into one successfully. Now, they haven't mentioned Primus, okay? They have not mentioned Primus yet, but Cybertron in this one is shown to be alive. Like, it's capable of moving and reaching out. And the reason it's all technically looking like it is in that is because of Dark of the Moon, where Sentinel Prime tried to actually bring it here to rebuild all the damage to it. Because lo and behold, the fucking plot point has continued on. Okay? That whole thing of rebuilding Cybertron, make Cybertron great again, that has all been in the movies. And this movie, as terrible as it is, as legitimately bad as the storyline is, the concept of it is, it's the best of them all, and it actually ties all this stuff together. Now, you would think that Dark of the Moon would tie together the first two movies, but no, Dark of the Moon leaves some huge plot holes there. Like, why is Sentinel Prime doing what he's doing? Why is Sentinel Prime evil? Why did Sentinel Prime make a deal with Megatron to do this? Like, what motivated the Fallen to do everything he did? Like all of these things. And you see, finally, in Age of Extinction, like the first hints of, oh, there's other people out there. Like, there's other things that are making, like that are trying to turn Earth into metal, okay? They're trying to do all these things. And then this one finally ties it together. And you have Quintessa, who is obviously based on the Quintessons, but it's thought that because of the power that she's shown to have, she might actually be one of the Primes, like a Prime who has managed to live and didn't actually kill herself to protect the Matrix leadership. Okay, all this stuff ties together, and you might be wondering, well, why does why do all the Transformers come to Earth? Why are they here? And like, how does that counteract the original story that you're told is that, well, Megatron crash landed here and he was discovered. Okay, the reality is, if you look at all the movies in context and start tying it together with what you see in this movie, they've been here for a really long time, and they keep coming here because, surprise, okay, surprise, this is Unicron. Okay, now if you ever watch Beast Wars, you'll remember that the Transformers have a religion, and it's based off of a book called the Covenant of Primus. Okay, this is not directly mentioned in this; it's really not, But there is mention of a prophecy, okay? And the Covenant of Promise basically says that a dragon will rise up and a warrior of light will fight him. Like, that's the basic storyline there. And in Beast Wars context, that is um, uh, Megatron and Tigerhawk. You know, like their fight, okay? And that's supposed to be the end of days. Like it's kind of like Ragnarok and everything else. Anyway, um, in this, it's Unicron. Like Unicron's there, and Unicron and Primus are going to fight. Okay, so the prophecy in the movie states that that Cybertron will actually Primus will travel, and there will be signs that will lead you to understand that Unicron is about to make his return. And what that is these six horns start growing up out of the earth. Okay, they're completely out of nowhere. No one's ever seen them before, but they're growing up. And Cybertron travels here because Quintessa has realized shit's about to go down. Okay, and Megatron has realized shit's about to go down. Optimus knows, like everyone understands, there's about to be some terrible things that are going to happen. Okay? And that's kind of where the movie is. And all of this, like the whole reason the Allspark Cube adheres everything, the Allspark Cube is misunderstood. Like it's thought to be something that created them, but it really didn't. Like the Transformers had never apparently ever met their own gods, whatever, like however you look at it. So like there's reasons that are thought to create them, and there's reasons that people thought they were here, but the reality is they've been here far longer than we've thought about. They have actually had much more involvement. This movie explains a lot of the stuff that Sector 7's been doing, because if you remember in Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, stuff like that, there are mentions of Transformers that have interacted with society. In fact, you see Jetfire in the movies, and but there's also photographs of Transformers that have been around since at least the 20s, and they have been. They helped us fight World War One. They helped us fight in World War Two. For God's sake, Bumblebee fought Nazis. Okay. Spoiler alert: Bumblebee's gonna get his own movie. You'll find out about it. Anyway, they've been around for a while, and like there's this like it's with it. This is the good thing about the movie. You realize that there's all these little plot points that are finally being tied together, and it's kind of sad that Michael Bay is not ever going to finish this story. Like it's as much as I hate Michael Bay, as much as I bitch about the movies and everything he's ever done, I'm kind of sad because we're not going to get to see the end of his vision here, and it's kind of terrible that we're not. But at the same time, that goes to why the movie is, God damn, it's so bad. It's so bad. And I realize I've been praising it for like 10 minutes now, but just understand, it's so bad. Okay? The characterizations of these robots are terrible. There's never any explanation of why, again, Megatron has got the remodel. It's presumable that because he has a red streak on his face, that he got it from Quintessa. Because Optimus gets a red streak on his face when he goes and talks to her. But like you're never given, any explanation of who Quintessa is, other than beyond that she's a god of Cybertronians. There's never any explanation really given of where all this technology that is coming to existence from, that explains, why it is all of a sudden we have these robots that are, trying to protect Earth. Like there's a bunch of things I could mention, but given the fact that there is an overarching story here, some of it's kind of overlooked or overlookable. But the one thing I want to know, I really want to know about the movie, the one thing that I cannot possibly stand to never know, is why is Cogman there, and why is he a headmaster, and why do we never get to see him do headmaster things? But god damn it, it's amazing. Oh, by the way, there is a Transformer in this that is a submarine, fought World War II. Just a hint here. You don't ever get to see them, but it's another female Transformer. But my thing is, okay, if you go see it for no other reason, like you're going to Transformer or whatever, and Nick, I'm gonna make the same recommendation to you, and I don't think you've seen it yet, but if you go see it, go watch it because the performance of Anthony Hopkins in this is amazing. Uh, but mostly go watch it for Cogman because having a humanoid-sized robot driving down a street in London singing "Move, bitch, get out the way" is the greatest thing you will ever see.
I, after listening to it, makes me wonder. And this is kind of a similar thought to um, Rangers. Is a lot of our complaints, maybe not complaints, but these movies are genuinely rather true to the source material. Back and actually watch the source material, like when you went back to watch Power Rangers. Ooh, I wonder just how much nostalgia has affected our opinion of how good these things actually were. To some extent,
I
in a lot of cases, these movies are rather true to the source material.
They really are, and I think that like you said, nostalgia just kind of tainted everything. You know, it's like we look back on things, we remember a certain way, and then just like going me going and watching Power Rangers, I realized it was stupid. It was a stupid thing to watch as a kid. But then I watched a remake of it. And I'm like, holy shit, this is actually kind of cool. Holy shit, there's oh they were in the show. They did this. They referenced all these cool things. Okay, and that's why I think, and I don't want to admit it because it's Michael Bay movie, but that's why I think the Transformers works. Okay, that's why. And again, I hate Michael Bay. He's a terrible director. Did you see Pearl Harbor? But it works. And there's an actual story here. It's not just giant robots fighting. And it's taken 5 movies to finally start to tie all this together. And it's great. It really is.
Oh,
It really does draw so much from the '80s cartoon and being a fan of it. And I'll be honest, the '80s cartoon, there are so many plot holes. There are so many fucking plot holes in that cartoon. Okay, and I know you're just supposed to watch and think, oh, ha, giant robots. It's to sell toys. Yeah, it is to sell toys, but there is like a mythos that was built up around it, and that's what gave us Beast Wars, which was an amazing series. It's what gave us every Transformers series after that. It's what's given us Transformers Prime, which is probably one of the best things ever made in Transformers universe. Okay, like there's this whole
well,
storyline comes
it
around it.
also makes they keep trying to make movies out of series, and I also really wonder if we're doing a disservice to when we're trying to take these very long series, even if they were rather simplified or simple stories, and condense them into movies. And I also wonder if that's hurting the movies. Like you said, it took how many movies to get the Transformers?
5.
Michael Bay's been. It took 5 movies for it to start to really make sense in any kind of fashion, and wonder if maybe we shouldn't be doing movies with these. Maybe we should be trying to make TV series or Netflix series or um, the
You know,
Voltron on the Voltron anime on Netflix is amazing. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I haven't, but it's a good thing you brought up Netflix because there was one thing I wanted to talk about. Like I know we had other stuff that we talked about before we started that we wanted to do because there's some amazing stuff this week. But like before we close, I want to talk about fucking Death Note. Okay. we have the trailer on our Facebook page. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. Uh, Netflix is doing a live action Death Note, and and okay, goddamn it, white people. Apparently, Death Note's going to be too Americanized. I have a concern about seeing white people in this. And then I read a review. I forget who it was talking about why it's going to be bad and why it's going to suck. And it's because Death Note is a critique of the Japanese prison system. No, actually, it's not. If you read what the creators tell you, it's basically the idea that you're going to die one day. You have limited time to make your impact on this planet, okay? And in an ideal situation, everyone would be the best person that they possibly could be because nobody has the right to play God. Nobody has the right to cast judgment on someone else and say that they're wrong. No one has the right to mistreat somebody. No one has the right to take another life because you can, okay? That's the point of Death Note. Like when the book falls from the sky and Light Yagami looks at it, and by the way, his name is Light Yagami, and if you know anything about Japanese, you understand light obviously is light, but Yagami also means from darkness, so it's light from darkness. You know, it's a nice theme there. Um, but if you watch it and you look at the way he reads, you know, the book, like before Riek ever shows up, he's reading the book and he starts writing names, okay? Because the rules say that whoever's name is in this is going to die, and there's certain rules that go along with it, like you have 40 seconds to tell how the person's going to die, or they're just going to have a heart attack. Like there's all these details in there, okay? And Light, before Riek but ever shows up in the series, has already written down like 20 names, okay? And that's that's the concept of Death Note right there. It's the idea that okay, they're going to die. I don't give a shit. You know, like he's willingly casting judgment on other people, knowing they're going to die. And then Riek shows up and he's like, "Oh, it's for real." And here's a literal death god saying, "Yes, it's quite real. They're going to die." That used to be my book. You know, I got bored. I got tired. I said, "Okay, it's in the human world. I'm gonna watch a person have fun with this." It's kind of like Death Takes a Holiday, and there's a lot of things you can compare to Death Takes a Holiday when you think about it. But it's the idea that basically Death itself is saying, "Okay, I'm gonna take a break. I'm just gonna watch how someone else handles this." That's what happens in Death Note, okay? And the reason that works, the reason it works with Americans or Canadians or French people is because the message is the same. No one has the right to mistreat anybody else. Like you're not just born, you know, with, you know, someone saying, "Here, go murder somebody because you fucking feel like it," okay? It's the idea that you need to learn to treat people better. Make a better world, don't make a worse world. Like that's the whole point of this. And it's like a Carl Jungian duality of man type thing, like Yagami's name meaning what it means. You know, he's really like he's trying to do good and well in his own way, and the way he's doing that is trying to, you know, it winds up being solving all the crimes in the world, right? And it works, okay? It works from both sides. So basically, just do the right thing is the point of Death Note. And people who are like, well, it's gonna be too Americanized. No, especially if you're one of the people who thinks that it's about the prison system. You want to talk about an unfair prison system? You want to talk about the need for reforming prison systems and the idea that people need to be nice to one another and need to not do vigilante justice type shit? Look at the United States, goddammit. Just look at the way we treat prisoners here. We essentially have a system of formalized slavery in our country. Again, surprise. And I realize some folks are going to hear me say that. They're going to be like, well, you're wrong about that. You know, it's not really slavery. And I'm going to say, yes, it actually is. The 13th Amendment says that you cannot use someone for manual labor or to produce a good unless it's a stated punishment for the crime. So putting someone in prison and use them to clean your roads and everything. Well, unless that was part of their initial punishment, you can't do that. But we're forcing prisoners to do that. There's a lot of contention, especially like here in the state of Texas. There's a lot of concern about doing that. Okay. Anyway, we need a lot of criminal justice reform in the United States because we have a high recidivism rate. We have a lot of people here who, fuck me, for some reason think that they needed that they deserve the right to carry a gun and shoot somebody that they think is threatening them. Because we have a castle law in Texas, there's castle law in Florida. A lot of states have this type of things. Okay, in fact, my favorite congressman ever has recently mentioned that he thinks that everyone in Washington, D.C. deserves the right to carry a gun around with them. And this was a day after Steve Scalise was shot. Okay? America is full of this need to have reform in how we treat prisoners and our justice system and how we look at the life of another human being. And you're going to tell me that Death Note, a series about that, is not going to work here? Fuck off.
But well, I I generally agree with you, but I also do understand where people are coming from, uh, worrying about Americanizing something. Plenty of things to show where that has gone terribly, terribly wrong. Egyptians Gods movie, Avatar The Last Airbender, on and on and on.
Okay, look, I'm not saying Americanization is not a problem. It really is. That's why, as much as I love the 2014 Godzilla movie, it's dumb as shit in American context. Okay, uh, and I'm
I
not even gonna.
actually
Hang on.
really,
I'm
I
not.
really
I'm
enjoyed
not
that
even gonna
movie.
mention the Matthew Broderick one. I'm not gonna mention that one. Okay, fuck that one. Um, Godzilla does not work here. It doesn't work in France or England or anywhere else because of the fact of what Godzilla is. Okay? Godzilla came out in the 50s. We all know this. You should know this. Um, and it's the idea of a terrifying monster that is going to come and just destroy everything. Now, why would that be unique to Japan? Why does Japan have this concept of these monsters that come from outside of the country and destroy everything? Oh, could it be because they're the only country that's ever had nuclear weapons dropped on them? Yes. Surprise! That's why Japan's got all these weird ass monsters and shit. That's what that is. These giant monsters that come and destroy all your things. That's why it's so popular in Japan. Because it's the fucking fear of having nuclear weapons dropped on you. Okay? Death Note doesn't have giant monsters that come and destroy all the things. It shows a person being the monster. That
Yeah.
works. You can
Oh yeah,
transplant that to the United States and it's just fine. It's the concept of vigilante justice being transplanted. It works here. We just spent a half hour talking about Batman. Batman's a vigilante. Batman uses his own idea of justice. It works in the context of the United States. I'm sorry, it does.
and that's what I was gonna say. Is that I think in this specific instance, Death Note can translate very well here. Now, if the series is going to be good or not, that's, we have to wait to actually see it.
It's just a movie. It's not going to be a series.
I thought it was going to be. Uh, oh, it's just a movie?
Yeah, it's like you said about making movies and a series and everything. That's what they're doing. Like it's a movie. It's like a feature length thing, and it's I'm assuming going like the series itself. Okay, I realize Death Note's a manga. Shut up. If you look at just the series, because the series is what introduced me to it. Okay, it's like 50 episodes. Okay, they're gonna condense what would be like 25 hours worth of TV into like 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever. And I
That
think if
makes
they
me
can,
worry. That
well,
makes me worry more than the Americanization. It really does.
okay, it's fine to worry. I understand the worry, but The reality is that Death Note story, if you remove the filler, because there's a little bit of filler in it, okay? If you remove that, the gist of the story is, and again, this is like 20-something-year-old story here. Shut the hell up. Um, Kid finds book. Kid writes names in books. Kid meets bad guy. Bad guy says people in books are going to die. Okay, so then Kid goes on vigilante path. The law finds out. Kid fights the law. The law wins. Okay, like that's the basic story here. But it also, of course, leads into having the cult of Kira and everything else, all those things. But like the Americanization seems to center around on why is his name Kira? Why is he this? Why is that? Like my thing is, and this is going back to the whole prison system thing. Okay, um, you have a white kid who wants to change all the problems, he wants to solve all the laws. Well, okay, that's fine. There's a lot of white kids who want to change the world, but then you have the system represented in L. Okay, and L in the series is a system. Okay, but it's supposed to be two Japanese kids. Oh, dangerous, huh? Okay, um, the majority of prisoners in the United States, I'm sorry, are black. Recidivism is a thing. There's a lot of black people and other people in general, but it's kind of common. Like it's considered a prison culture type thing here. And if you don't believe me, watch something like Scared Straight. Watch something like that. You'll see a lot of black prisoners, and there's a lot of them who will tell you, "No, you don't want to be here. You don't want to do this. You want to do the right thing." Okay. So the idea to me of casting a black person as L, as representing the system, as representing law, and something that is commonly thought to talk about prison reform, it works. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Quit worrying about Americanization, about something that is that is a commentary on an idea, like on a social idea. I mean, we're not talking about Godzilla because, like I just said, that doesn't work here. Attack on Titans doesn't work here. Like, there's a lot of things that aren't going to work in context, and this is fine. This is fine. This is not like what was the one we had this year? Ghost in the Shell. Okay, now I if I'm not mistaken, we did a show about this where we talked about the Americanization of Ghost in the Shell and the idea of having a white woman cast as the major. And the more I thought about it, I'm fine with who's cast as the major. I'm okay with that. There's a reason for this. She's never expressly said to be Japanese, or even Chinese, or even Asian. Okay, for starters, Motogo Kusanagi, I realize she has a Japanese name, but that's just a fucking name. Work with me here. There are references to her childhood. You never see her face, you never see anything about her parents, but at one point in time she was alive, and then all of a sudden she's in a robot body. Okay? The robot body can be anybody you want it to be. It's fine. It's a robot. Just happens to be in Japan. But there are enough references to say that the major, because like that's her name, like Motoko is the robot body, by the way. Like that's her new identity. It's kind of like Faye Valentine from Cowboy Bebop. Because when she was a child and she was growing up, her name probably wasn't Faye Valentine. But she never really understands her past. The major never understands her past. Motoko is her new identity, but that's why everyone calls her the major, and it's fine, it works, whatever. But the concern with having Scarlett Johansson there is that they're whitewashing a role, okay? But this is where it gets important. The major is most likely American. Like, there's enough references about her past and who she is and why it is she does certain things a certain way that makes you believe she's possibly American, okay? That's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. And I think people need to settle down sometimes. It's not like we're talking like Gods of Egypt whitewashing here, because that was not only was that a terrible movie, but it was legitimate whitewashing, and it was Americanizing roles that shouldn't have been that, and it's terrible when that's done. It really is. But there are just certain things like Death Note. I think it's fine and you can leave it go at that, and it works. And with Ghost in the Shell, it's fine. There are certain characters in there who are obviously not Japanese. It's fine. Let it go. Calm down.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to just tell people to calm down or say that it's fine. There are legitimate problems in Hollywood and, with whitewashing and things, as we said. And I can understand where they're coming from. You might want to see an Asian actor or actress in a movie that's coming from source material that's from Asia. I can really understand and sympathize with that to a certain extent. With Death Note specifically, I know the studio in Japan wanted to actually Americanize this. Um, so in this specific case, I'm not as disturbed by what happened. Kind of a 50-50 to me. Just it's just a weird thing, I guess. Where it suggested she's American, but that one gets slightly weird. It's just one of those things where I understand where people are coming from, but I also understand what the the movie producers are trying to do, and they really are trying to translate the story into an American version of it, and I think that's fine here. I won't with it in this case. Now, whether it's going to be good or not, obviously that's a completely different matter. Um, in the case, I don't really have a problem with it here. Now, like we said, Gods of Egypt, The Last Airbender, those are examples of whitewashing, but I really don't think you can compare them on a base to basis with the Death Note remake here.
You can't because they're all individual series, and you have to take them as what they are. And that's why this reaction to Death Note. And I get that it's one of the sacred things of anime and manga, and it's wonderful, and that you're so fucking concerned about it because you all like to name your kids Kira, and you like to do spiky hair, and be all emo, and it's whatever. But for
I
God's
mean, there
sake,
was the
let some.
Dragon Ball
I mean,
movie.
like, as
Movie.
much as you and I have bitched about things just in the context of the show and talked about things that need to be done and don't need to be done, I think grabbing the pitchforks and torches over Death Note is a little bit silly. Because it's a commentary on a social thing and it works. It probably works better here than it does in Japan. And I'm not saying that the Japanese prison system is not terrible, because it actually is. And if you look into it, you'll find that out. But we have a lot of need for criminal justice reform in the United States. It's been talked about for quite a while. Even our current president, person that we have a lot of dislike for, has even mentioned the need for it. Okay, so it's not important here, and we need these things to happen here. And like you said, on a case to case basis for these series, you can't really compare them because they're going to work differently depending on what they are. And that's the case with this one. It's fine. Let it go. There's other things to worry about.
Yeah.
Oh well. One quick note. I guess we're going to end because here in a little bit. Um, Tomorrow is Treason Day. United States. It's Treason Day. I know.
Hey,
I
Ethan.
know. Happy 4th of July, all that stuff. But no, fuck you. It's Treason Day. Uh, I'm gonna get in so much trouble for saying that. I don't care. But yeah, Happy Treason Day, I guess. Oh, and the other day was Canada Day. I don't know if you saw it or not, but apparently, Michael Trudeau, I'm sorry, why did I say Michael? Justin Trudeau is in so much trouble because he didn't mention the word Alberta in his speech. If that is the worst thing Canada has got going on, I want to be Canadian.
I think a lot of us wouldn't mind being Canadian for a few years right now.
Oh well, I don't know. Anyway, let's see Wednesday's show. How about some Fooly Cooly and some Warcraft stuff on Wednesday?
Sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah, those of you who didn't know, Fooly Cooly is getting season 2 and 3. The trailer's out. It'll be on our Facebook later today if you haven't seen it. I'm excited about it. There's a lot of stuff going on with Warcraft. We might talk some more about that. I don't know. That'll be Wednesday. Anyway, yeah, this is kind of fun. I'm kind of glad we're back doing this, Nick.
Yeah, it was a good show.
It
It was an
was.
awesome
It was.
show. It was the best show.
I don't know. I think episode 1's probably the best, but what do I know? Who am I kidding? They've all
You
been the
know
best.
nothing. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Fuck you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can talk about Game of Thrones. We can talk about Game of Thrones. So excited. Oh, it's gonna be a good month. Back to being optimistic, baby. Yeah.
Things. Oh, and there's my favorite superhero.
No,
Yes.
Captain Underpants' movie is already out. I didn't. Actually, yeah, Spider-Man comes out this week, doesn't it? Like it's. Is it this week or next week?
I think it's this week. I think it's this weekend, isn't it? Or Friday?
I think it is, but yeah, it's coming out this week. If y'all haven't noticed, there's been a very, very it's aggressive, but it's a subtle marketing campaign. But you know what? We'll save that for Wednesday, I think.
That's okay.
So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like this video, comment on it, share it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook. Please visit our Patreon page. Tweet at me on Twitter. Nick, at some point in time, you need to just go and acknowledge that you have a Twitter and let everyone know, and they can reach out to you. But until then, just message me on Twitter. And for whatever reason, if you want to like our Twitch page, go ahead and do that. Even though we don't do anything there anymore, we probably should. Maybe it just needs to. I don't know. It probably could just we could just get rid of the Twitch page at some point
I
in time.
could beat
I don't
you
know.
up on Hearthstone.
You what?
I could beat you up on Hearthstone.
You probably could because I haven't played Hearthstone in like 6 months, I think. At least not regularly. I got on a while back and did something, but it's become my least favorite thing, I guess.
You're a terrible person.
I know you are. Anyway, that's it, and we will talk to all of you on Wednesday.
Bye bye, everyone.
Talk to you Wednesday. Bye, everybody.